Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. It was beautiful here in Wichita. I did some yard work. 80 degrees plus or minus, depending on which day it was. Watched a little football. Saw Tennessee get nudged out by Florida, but we played a much better game. So each week they're improving, and they're extremely young. So a couple of years from now, they'll probably be once again competitive in the SEC. It's a tough league to get behind in. It's they play pretty pretty stout football down there. There's no news really to drive today's trading. I think the biggest news this week will be FOMC minutes on Wednesday, and then the news that comes in from overseas. The BlackRock says the Fed's going to raise interest rates sooner rather than later. Goldman has said the third quarter of 2015. So that's where the battle is right now. Both Goldman and BlackRock say the economy is starting to grow, is starting to accelerate. I sure hope they're right. I see a lot, again, when I look around, just locally taking the pulse, only real estate being built is build-to-suit stuff by national food chains, motel chains, etc., that are really self-financing. You don't see anybody stepping out and taking a chance on spec real estate, and why would they? There's so many empty strip shopping centers. In fact, even the great big malls have a lot of papered over windows in them. So if you're in one of those companies or situations that are prospering right now, things can look pretty good. If you're not, they don't look so good, and so people really aren't willing to take speculative bets on the economy. So that leaves us with this week's major dynamic, the 3, 10, and 30-year auction, and the 3-year auction is generally a pretty good one. So when I look at this screen right here, I see volume at 16 right here that'll pull the market to it. I see central volume right here at 10, and then we have volume all the way down here at the buck. So I really kind of see a 125, maybe to 04, and then 125, 16 to 20 is where the market is, and think we'll probably trade within that. The first sell that's going to come up is we got this high right here at 13.5, so the first sell is going to be 11 to 15. I think we got a pretty good shot of getting it done against 15, and then back to our 19 to 23, which capped the market last week. No news to drive today's trading whatsoever domestically. And so we'll make 1 to 5 our first buy, and then 25, 29 for buy number 2. So I think the first trade that will come up will be a short. And right now we have a P, another P, and a mom, so we're probably on hold as the day session opens. 13.5. Then we have a K period high here at 16, so this is prime sell territory. As I said, no domestic news to drive today's trading. Internationally, in the Middle East, ISIS is supposedly moving on a Kurd stronghold in Syria, northern Syria, butts up against the Turkish border. I think Turkey has tried to close their border to Kurdish refugees. ISIS is brutal, and they do it for 2 reasons. One, if you read the strategies that worked when they were conquering the world, it seemed like almost instantly back in 650 AD, terrorizing populations, the word would travel before them, and quite often cities would fold they wouldn't even have to fight a battle. And terror was a part of that bad news and a definite part of their strategy. So we still see that operating today as they model their conquest on previous conquests. Okay, the knob spread basically held this weekend. Didn't get any worse. We're just at 14, just north of 14. We're dealing with a P. Right here, if we go back and we do a split, got another P behind it, probably move it all together. Maybe I is the correct split right here. But again, it's the 3-year auction and the knob spread's holding its own. So no indications from the knob spread that there's any selling yet coming into the market. So when we look at the volume nodes on this screen, most recently we're there, and we may perhaps have a new move coming out. We've got little volume up here at 25 to 29. We've got a low volume area here at 20, so the first sell will be 19 to 23, and then 27 to 31 is a better sell because it leans up against 140 basically. So looking for 2024 and then 28 to the buck to be resistance. On the buy side, 1 to 5 looks pretty good right now. And then our 25 to 29 for buy 2. And the knob spread is right at 14. It's 14 plus right now. ISIS sawed off the head of another hapless individual. An American is next on the docket to get his head cut off. And the irony is that he is a convert to Islam. So we'll see if that saves his neck, so to speak. My guess is it probably won't. And it once again will show the ruthlessness of the mindset that we're dealing with. I mean, it is no quarter asked, no quarter given. Okay, we had been talking for a long time about 85, and we hit it. The opening of Globex last night, and the market has since come up. All the way down, we had named the trading targets that eventually were hit. Some of them quickly, some of them not so quickly. So we've got this last rotate up stopped at 3. Obviously, we've got 1,200 to get through. So sell 1 is going to be 1,200 plus or minus. And then sell 2 is going to be in this 3 to 5 area. Japan supposedly is going to take steps to strengthen up the yen. They need to, for sure. So London's low right here is 92.50, so we'll make 90.93 buy 1. I think the first trade up was going to be a sell. I think they're headed for stops above 1,200 right now. It's going to be pretty easy to get there. This break right here in the 1205 area plus or minus is the best short in my opinion. And then 85, 87 will be buy 2. The dynamic that is missing in gold this year is the lack of large institutional buying in outright gold. National banks, national banks, central banks are buying gold in a purchase, and individuals are. And once again, you look at the premium for coins compared to bars. That's the retail market, and the premium for coins over just outright bullion is significantly higher than it has been historically, and that just shows you the appetite of the retail buyer. Okay, 125 was the trading target. We got there. So we have this spill from 26.15. We have this spill from 26 even. We're at 71. We've got this low at 75. This low at 90. So 75 to 85 will be sell 1. And then 26 even plus or minus will be sell 2. On the buy side, the last rotate down was 50, so we'll make 50 plus or minus 5, buy 1. And then we had the breakout from 25, 30, 25, 35 for buy 2. 26 plus is a pretty solid target in my opinion, but got to get through 75 first before you can get to 26. Okay, crude. One of the interesting things, and I've watched OPEC forever, traded hundreds and hundreds of thousands of crude contracts for significant players in the energy market, is increased supply, and that's pretty hard to overcome. And Saudi Arabia has been the swing producer. So Saudi Arabia will swing between 8 million and occasionally they'll go to 10 million to keep price in a narrow band. Depending on whose stuff you read, 80 bucks a barrel to 90 bucks a barrel is where Saudi Arabia starts to feel the pain. And going below 8 million barrels a day is where they start to feel the pain. So we have gotten below this 90 area right here. We briefly touched the 88 area on the long-term charts. That 85, 87 area is pretty good support. So here we are with a round number at 90. We're there right now. You can see we have 90.50. Pretty close to the buck. So this 90.50 to 91 is probably pretty good resistance. So 90 1/4, 90.50, sell 1. And then 75 to 91 will be sell 2. It looks like to me that we're in consolidation right now. I thought there for a while that the interdiction that would take place in Syria would be against these convoys of where ISIS has these portable or mobile refineries, but you don't read much about these convoys being taken out, and they'd be really, really easy to hit. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why aren't they? I mean, that would hurt them in the pocket, but right off the bat. But it's not being done. So, as usual, intent and clarity of purpose are lacking. It's hard to know what the United States is doing, and given all the twists and turns of the current administration, they're not helping matters. They react and they do things due to political pressure. They do not take a long-term strategic nor tactical view on what they can do to hurt ISIS's efforts. So my feeling is that if ISIS comes in and takes over, they're going to cut off a significant portion of your community's heads. Probably the leaders of the tribe, the sheikhs that do that maybe these tribes will take up arms and stop them. I don't think you can count on the United States doing much other than interdiction from the air, and it doesn't look like they're really getting after that either. Okay, the E-mini, where are we right now? Let's go back and take a look at the F1 screen. The market is up, supposedly off the Hewlett-Packard split. Printers and computers versus large mainframe and corporate services, two different companies. Goldman, once again, has their finger in that pie. I mean, is there anything out there that Goldman doesn't have their finger in? I mean, it's an amazing firm, especially when you consider how many times they certainly are pushing the envelope of law and how many disasters their name is associated with after they've sold their positions and cleared out. But I guess people do business with them out of self-defense, minimally, and because they can move the paper when they have to. Okay, volumes in this 68 area. This is kind of the central price. We're rejecting prices above, certainly above 2005. So this is where best resistance is, and we've rejected prices below 35. So 50 points takes us up into this area right here, this 80 area. So first you got to get through 75, 78, and obviously to break and have a shot at 30, you got to get through 50, and we're currently at 66. So my guess is they're probably looking at a test or a probe, resistance at 70, 75, and support at 55 to 60 to get started. And we'll refine that on the F2 screen. On the F2 screen, we've rejected prices at 70. We're at 66, so cell 1 is going to be 70 plus or minus. We got our 75, 78, so cell 2 will be 75, 77. Come in right underneath this high. On the buy side, we've rejected prices below 63. We're at 65 right now, so we'll make 60, 62. Let them go back and retest that. Now, we may have to pay up. This market has made us pay up to get long. We'll just have to see how this shapes up here early in the session. So the long may come at 65. If that is the case, then we'll be trying to sell the sub 5 area. We'll play for a 10. With no news, we'll play for a 10-point trading range. But that's how we'll get started. Resistance is at 70, then 75 to 78. And support maybe at 63, 65. But we're going to get started trying to buy 60, 62, and then 55, 57. Okay, it'll take at least 15 minutes to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. Be back as soon as I can. In the meantime, good trading.